Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Muhammad Tahir Ghazal, or MTG for short. I'm a web developer working with BigShift, and I'm the main developer behind Boltvan. So this video, it will be a crash course tutorial about how to build a Noster client application. We will be using React and nostr-tools to build that. This is not a what is Noster type of video. This is a build something with Noster video. So like basically it's for people who already know what Noster is, have read a little bit about it, but still haven't developed something with it. So we will teach most of the basic stuff that any Noster client application will have. We will cover some of the gotchas and things that you will need to know when building a Noster client application. Yes, like you should, after watching this video, you should be ready to build any Noster client application because most of the basic stuff it's the same for any Noster application. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's get started. So this is the project that we'll be working on. It's a basic React project. It's an empty project bootstrapped with Vite. I have added Tailwind to the project, and by the way, the project code will be available to you on GitHub later. So I just removed some of the boilerplate and added some basic components, UI components. I will not be focusing on styling or like anything related to the UI so much. My main focus will be on the Noster logic, Noster API, and the Noster library. So like most of the styles, I'll just copy and paste it. What we'll be building basically is a feed where we show like a Noster feed where we show nodes of Noster. We will connect to a pool, subscribe to a bunch of events, see how we can use different filters, how we can fetch metadata, how we can fetch the data of the authors of different nodes, and how we display it, how to connect to a Noster extension like Albi, how to publish, how to allow the user to publish a node, and some things related to performance issues or things you might not be aware of the first time you build a Noster client. And we'll see if we have more time to cover more stuff, but we'll be aiming to do that. Okay, so let's get started. This, by the way, we will be using nostr-tools, as I said. This is a package, a TypeScript package that has a relatively simple API that will allow us to connect to relays or pool of relays and do some basic functionalities. We'll cover everything we use shortly. But yes, like if you can give this a read before starting working on the project, then that would like make things a little bit easier. But as I said, we'll cover that. And this is our application. Currently, it's an empty application. So as I said, we want to build a Noster feed. So to build a Noster feed, we will need to do several things. First thing, this is like a bunch of relays that I will be connecting to. You can use whatever relays you want. So to create a Noster feed, we need to do several things. The first thing is to set up a relays pool and connect to it. After we create the pool, we will need to subscribe to some events. We can, of course, listen to any event, but most likely we want to subscribe to specific events. And then after we subscribe to the events, we will get these events returned. So we want to render them. Okay. So let's go step by step. Setting up the release pool. We want to create the pool globally. Not globally, I mean we want to create it like only one time and use it for the application later on. So we will store it in a state. Well, the initial value will be null. The type will be simple bool or null. Now simple bool is a class exported by nostr-tools, which is the release pool that we will use. So to create the pool, as I said, we want to create it once. So to do that, we will create the pool inside a use effect. And because we want to close the pool once we are done, so bool equals a new symbol bool, but we cannot pass what relays we want to use. After we create the pool, we will set it. And don't forget to close the pool once we unmount the component. Close. Now when closing the pool, we need to specify what relays we want to close. Maybe we don't want to close all the relays. So as we will be using these relays, so I send these relays to the close function. Okay, so this should create the pool. Next thing is we need to subscribe to some events. Let's check the README file for the nostr-tools to see how we can subscribe to events. Here it is. So we create a pool. We have a bunch of relays that we want. To subscribe to events, we call pool.sub. We send the relays that we want to make our subscription to. And then we will pass a list of filters. We will see how to do that. So this subscription also will happen inside the use effect because we only want it to, only want to open the subscription once, not every time. So let's do it in use effect. So we call pool.sub. By the way, because bool in the first render, it might be null. So if not bool, we want to return immediately. Else. So we will pass it the relays. Then we need to pass it the filter that we want to subscribe according to. Now the filters, they are a list, an array of let's see just quickly. Type, we can check the filter that is exported. So a filter is what are the conditions that we want the events that get returned to be filtered by. So we can specify IDs that we only want events that have some specific IDs, or by kinds, kind 1 event, which is a text note, or maybe a different kind. Authors, which publicly publish this event. Since, until, this is for pagination. Limit, how many events we want the initial request to return. Maybe we don't want it to return 1000 event, just 50 or something. And additionally, we can specify tags. We will see about that shortly. So let's start with a simple subscription. We want events with kind 1. And let's limit them by 100 events. We don't want to have an infinite feed list. Um, and okay, let's just start with that. This opens subscription, but we are like not doing anything with the events that get returned. We need to bold subscribe return a subscription object, by the way. So on this subscription object, we can listen on some event, like the event listener. This listener will call a function that get past the event that was returned. Let's just for now log this event and see what we get. This is TypeScript saying that it doesn't know what this event type is. Its type will be event, also exported by from nostr-tools. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Go to the console. Okay, seems to be working. As you see, we are getting events and events. Now, this is the first gotcha that you might encounter. As you can see, the events keep coming. Although we have specified a limit of 100, you might say that, okay, these are definitely more than 100 events. So why is limit not working? No, it's working, but the limit is only for the initial like request. After you get 100 event, if new events are published to the relays, it will still send them to you. So because we are subscribing to the global feed, which is like anything with kind one event, this is a very general filter. There are new events that are being like published, a bunch of new events being published each second. So that's why it's still like get new events every second. But if we were to specify a more specific filter, let's try, for example, to get events that only have hashtag of Noster. Now, to get by hashtag, there is a tag which is hashtag T. And here, hashtag D, we can specify which hashtag we want to look up. So let's use Noster. Refresh. Okay, as you can see, we got a bunch of events, but no new events are being transmitted each second. That's great. We know that the subscription is working and our pool is working. One final thing is don't forget to close the subscription. By calling sub.unsub. Okay, now let's like render these events very basically. As I said, I have pre-built some components. This is a nodes list component. Just it takes a bunch of nodes. Type any. We can say it's type event. And it maps over this list of nodes and like call a node card component, and it passes it the content. Now the node card component just like display the content inside the card. So let's here call nodes list, and we need to pass it the nodes that we have. But currently, like we are not storing the nodes anywhere. We are just logging them. So for that, we can use state, where we have events. It will start as an empty array. The type of this state will be event list. And here, instead of logging the event, yes, we will update the event state with the new event. Here we send it the events array. Let's see if it's working. Okay, as you can see now our list of events is being shown here. Great. It's ugly, I know, but we'll improve that later. What else? By the way, one thing worth noting is one thing cool about the bool is that we are subscribing to multiple relays, right? So each relay could store the same event. Like multiple relay could store the same event. So when we by default subscribe to a bunch of relays, we can expect that the same event will be returned multiple times by multiple relays. So we will need to remove the duplicates. We only need to get the event the first time, but the next times we receive the event, we should not deal with it. As you see, we did not create this logic here, and that's because the bool automatically deduplicates the events. So this on event listener will be called for each event only once. If the bool receives the event multiple times later, it will not be called again, which is something cool that we don't need to care about this logic. Okay, so as we said, we have now the feed. Let's now go to the next step. The next step is, okay, we are now showing the content of each node, but each node is created by an author, and we most likely would like to show the author, name, avatar, when was the node created, etc. So, but if we inspect the event object, let's see what is the structure. The event object has the content. It has when it was created, the ID, the kind, the public key of the author who created this event, the signature if we want to verify it, and the tags used. But it doesn't have any info about the author who created this node. So to get this info, the username or the avatar or something like that, we will need to use this public key and fetch or try to fetch these data. Now, user's metadata is stored in a kind0 event, and this kind0 is usually published, only published by the user. So we will need to extract the public keys from all the nodes, and we will need to create a new subscription for kind0 events with these public keys. Let's see how we will do that. Let's remove this console log. Render the events, we render the events. Okay. So to create a new subscription, let's do it in another use effect. By the way, you might be wondering why I'm creating multiple use effects, not single use effect. For creating different things which are not related, it's usually much better to create it in different use effects. This way, it will be much easier to manage the dependency array and to manage when the use effect is re-invoked. So the logic will be very similar to this, but the filter will be different. Instead of kinds1, we will need kind0. We don't have a limit because we want to get all the author's metadata. We don't have a hashtag, but we will need to specify the authors of this event. So here we will need to put all the public keys that we have in the events we are showing. These public keys are, let's put them here. Let's call them public keys to fetch. these are the events dot map public key. We are extracting the public key field from all the events list we have. And let's put this here. And okay, we are creating the event handler. Let's log the event first to see how we will deal with it later. To see what we are receiving. Let's update the dependency array. Now it's depending on the events. So when the events change, we will need when the events change, the public keys to fetch are changing too. So the subscription will also change. Okay, so let's go back and see what we are getting. Okay, nothing is being logged. Public keys to fetch. Let me just remove this for 1 second. Okay, it's working now. This is something that we will talk about now. The reason this is happening is because the events are changing, the event's state is being updated whenever a new event is being called. So basically maybe 100 times. So this subscription is being created and closed each time the event's state is being changed. So we cannot unsubscribe here. We'll see how to unsubscribe from this event later. Okay, so as you can see, now we are receiving the author events. There are a lot of events, definitely. And they are keeping coming and coming. Can you guess why they are not stopping? Why, although the nodes, these are just the nodes, so their authors are fixed, they are not changing, but new subscription is being created each second. This is another thing that you should keep in mind. As I said, this event state is being changed, and it keeps changing. So the subscription is not being actually closed. We can close this subscription when it's on there is an EOSE, which means end of stored events. So here we can close this subscription. I remove the log. Let's see if it's working. Okay, so as you can see, the new events stopped because we are closing the subscription when each subscription emits the end of stored event. But we will still have a problem, but we'll see it later on. For now, okay, we now have the author's metadata. Let's see how this metadata looks like. If we open an event, you can see we have a content field. The other fields are very similar to the kind1 field. The content field, however, as you can see, it's a stringified JSON object which contains fields let's copy it and paste it here to see it clearly. So it contains various fields. Nothing is mandatory. You will see some metadata objects contain some fields and some that don't. But some of the main fields that you usually expect to see is nip5, if the user has one, a picture, which is a URL for the picture for the user avatar. Uh, load 16, display name, and a name. For now, we only care about the name field and the avatar field, and maybe the name field. So let's see how we can extract these. Now, currently we are just logging these events, but we also want to store them in a state. Let's create a new state called new state called metadata. This will be not an array we want to make looking up for a, like we will display a node, and each node has public key, right? So we want to look for each node, what is the metadata of this public key? So if we store the metadata in an array, we'll need to go over the array and to find the object that has this public key. So to make this lookup easier and faster, we will store it in an object where the key will be the public key of the author, and the value, it will be this object which contain the name and avatar and things like that. So the type will be record, where the key will be string, and the value, it will be the metadata object. Let's create quickly a type for that. Metadata. It can have a name. It's optional, as I said. Like, you can see a metadata object that doesn't have a name. No field is mandatory. That is a string. It will also have a picture field, which is also a string. Do we care? Maybe nip5 field. We'll see about that later. Okay, I think that's enough for now. Okay, so this state, it will be a map from a public key to a name, picture, and nip5 objects. Let's go down here to where we are receiving these metadata object, and yes, basically this. When we are receiving the event, we want to, as you saw here, the content is a stringified JSON. So the first thing we want to do is to parse it. Now this metadata will be as metadata type. So this way we will update the metadata state with this with a new record that has the key of this public key and the value, which will be metadata. Okay. Current, so that we don't have name conflict, and I think that should be working now. Let's log this metadata state to see if it's working. Okay, it's being updated. Okay, cool. As you can see, the shape, public key as the key, and the content will be an object that contains the different fields. Like, as you can see, this field has an about, display name, load 16, name, picture, but this one only has about, name, and picture. Let's add the about, by the way. The about is something that we could display. Okay, that's it. We now have the metadata object. Now let's use it. Now the way we are going to use this is on the node card. let's display the avatar and the name of the user. So let's go back to the note card. Now it's only accepting content. Let's say that it only accepts user prop, which has this shape of, it has a name field, optional. Let's not make it optional. We will handle the case where the name is not there in the parent component. And it also has a picture. Let's picture type of string. Yeah, that's it. Let's also accept the created at, which is a number, so that we can show the date of the node. Created at is the number of seconds since the node was created. So, okay. Let's now create the component for this. I'll just copy paste them because, as I said, I don't want to write the style for them. So this will be basically it. Instead of picture image, let's name it. Created at. Okay, so I just added this component where I show the image, and I show the username, and I show the date. If we want also to like put a link where if the user click on it, will take him to a profile page for the user, we can use the public key of the user. So let's also send it here. Yes, and that's it. Now the nodes list, of course, it's not passing these fields yet. So we need to pass them here. The created at, it's simple. It's just the node.created at field. Let me just, yeah. But for the user, we will need to pass these fields. How can we get them? If we here accept the metadata field, we can extract the user info and create these fields basically. So first thing, just let us export this type because it will be used here. Metadata. So here the name will be, we will look up in the metadata object that we have. We will try to find an entry that has the key of this not public key. This is optional because we might not find this entry if the user, maybe the user has not even published a metadata for himself. So if we don't find it, we can fall back to the node.public key. For the image, let's just like put empty string for now, and for public key we can just put this. Let's see if this is working. We'll just need to pass the metadata object here to the node lists. Metadata. Okay, let's see if things are working. Okay, as you can see now we are having a avatar. It's empty because we are not passing the image yet. The dates are being shown. The names are also displayed. Great. Let's display the images now. Go back to node list. Image, it will be like the same as this. but instead of the name field, we will look at the picture field. And by default, if we don't find a picture, we don't want it to be ugly, so we can put a default picture, and the default picture I'm going to be using is there is this website that has called, I think, Dice Bear. This is something like that, not sure. Let me just check quickly. Yeah. Okay, so there is this website that you can like give it a seed, a string seed, and it will generate an image for you, a default image. Let's go see this one. So this is the image generated. If I put another seed, I will get a different image. So if the user has not uploaded an image for himself, we can just use a default image by appending his public key to it to make it unique to the user. Okay, save. Let's see. Okay, cool. Now we are displaying the images for the users. That's great. Okay, now just I want to remove this text centering thing. Text center, where is it? Maybe it's here. Here. Yeah, I think it looks better now. Let's decrease the width. I think 70 character is good. Width 100. Yeah, looks better now. Okay. So now things are looking a little bit better. Everything is displayed. Now let's see the next problem. Let's look at the dates of the nodes. As you can see, this one it's published on the 9th. Let's scroll down a little bit. 9. This is on the 8th. Okay. 7th. This one on the 9th. This one is on the 9th. And this one on the 7th again. So as you can see, they are not sorted because like the relays are, when we are creating subscription, each relay is returning the events in their own latency. So we might receive some events from some relay, and then another relay will send us back some newer events, but we are just like displaying all of them without ordering them in any certain order. But most likely you want to sort them from newest to oldest. So to do that, it's simple. We can just go here to where we are setting the events in the state. Here. So here we are, like whenever we receive a new event, we are just appending it to the end of the list. But instead of doing that, we might want to like check the current events, dates, and sort them, and put it in the right place, where it's in the right order. I'm not going to write the function to sort that. I'm just going to use a function created by Fiat Jeff. This is okay. Let's create it in a directory here called hotels, for example. Hotels helper functions ts. I'll paste the event. Okay. Okay, it seems a little bit daunting, I know, scary. Let's just import that type first, and I'll quickly explain what this function is doing. Okay. This function looks scary, I know, but it's like You don't really need to know what it's doing, but basically it's using binary search to binary search is an algorithm where you instead of when you want to search for an element in a sorted list, uh, the normal default way is you like move one element at a time and check whether this is the element you are looking for or not. In binary, but this is a little bit not very performant because the complexity is on or linear. So a better way would be to use binary search, which basically instead of going one item linearly, it like divide the list in it chooses the middle point. It checks this only this middle item to see if it's the item we are looking for. If it's not, it checks if, whether it's lower than or greater than what we are looking for. Depending on that, it discards one of the halves and go with the other half. With this other half, it again look in the center element to see, and repeats the same process. So basically, instead of going one item at a time, it like just it checks the middle item, then the middle item in the other half, the middle item in the other half, the middle item in the other half. The complexity is log n, so it's like much quicker. Uh, yeah, probably I didn't explain it very well. Uh, just go read more about it later. But we'll use it as is. So here, instead of appending it to the end of the list, we will use this insert event into descending list. We give it the sorted events, which is current events, and the event we want to append. Save. Let's see if let's just hide this clipping not card. Where is it? Yes, overflow hidden text ellipse, I think. I think I need to put this there. Yeah. Okay. So let's now check to see if they are sorted or not. 9999 999 88 888 7 7 7 7 7 6. Okay, looks good. Seems that they are sorted now. If you want to sort them like from older to newer, it's easy. You can just reverse the array that gets returned from the function, or you can just change this condition to reverse it. But anyway, things are seems good for now. Let's see what next. Extract hashtags. Okay, so the next things we want to do is each event. Now, like as you saw, we are subscribing to events that has the Noster hashtag. So let's just try to display these hashtags here on the note card to see like maybe some events have different hashtags. Let's see how we can extract something from the tags field of the event object. Here in the notes list, note card, let's say we will expect a hashtags which will be yes a list of strings, and we will show it down here. Let me just okay, this is a symbol list where we are mapping on the hashtags. Let me just put it here first. Okay, so I'm mapping on the hashtag and displaying a simple badge. Okay, let's go to the nodes list and see how we can pass this hashtags. We need to pass it. Okay, now on the node object, we don't have a hashtag field, right? We have a, let's log it quickly. Nodes. For now, let's put an empty array. Okay. That's a lot of events. Tags. Okay. So to extract the hashtags, we will need to on the tags field, we will need to get all the t tag and extract the second value of their array. Hashtags on Noster events are not put in a single t array. Like as you can see, it's not a t, then comma Noster, comma Damas, comma Bitcoin, comma whatever. It's an array t Noster, another array t Damas. If there was a third hashtag, there would be another third array which is t whatever other hashtag. So what we need to do here is node.tags. We will need to filter tag, but not this condition. We want to see if the first field of the tag equals t. If it is, then we want to return now in this case it's returning, let's just put them on different lines to make them clearer. Okay, filter, this is extra, and now this will filter the tags we have to only the tags that start that have the t as their first element. Next, we need to extract the hashtag itself by taking the second element, as you saw. It's the first element of the array will be t, the second element of the array will be the hashtag value. Okay, let's see if it's working. Great. As you can see, now the hashtags are being displayed. As you can see, all the events have the Noster hashtag. Okay, seems to be working. Let's remove this console log and see what's next. Okay, so things seems to be working fine for now. However, we have a problem that it might not have been very apparent to us, but it's like it will appear later for users. So let's see what I'm talking about. Refresh the page. Now, if we go to the network tab and to the WebSocket connections, here we see the different relay we are opening a WebSocket connections to. And if we enter to one of the relays, you will see that the green one are the messages sent by us. Let me refresh and show you. As you can see, there are many subscription requests being made. Like so many subscription requests. And although it's working, it's like not optimal at all. Opening this many subscription. And the reason for that is because basically we are, let's go back here. Yeah, the reason for that is because we are creating a subscription every time a new event is being called, and uh, like we are not ignoring the events that we have already fetched, because like each time the events change, we are extracting the public keys to fetch. But each time there will be public keys that we have already fetched, right? In the previous renders before the events state updated. So we are like creating a subscription events for each key multiple times. And we are creating a subscription like exactly each time the event state change, which happens probably more than 100 times. So how can we fix that? There are multiple things that we can do. So let's start with one of them. The first one is fetching the same event multiple times. We don't want to fetch the events that have already been created. So to do that, here we are getting all the public keys of the events that we have, right? But we want to exclude the keys that have already been like we have already created a subscription for them. So the way to do that is we can have like an object where the key will be the public key, and the value, it will be either false or non-existent if we haven't created or if we haven't included this public key in any subscription yet. But if we included it in a subscription, it will be true. This way, later we can see if we are already subscribing to this public key, we don't need to include it in future subscriptions. Enough talk. Let's see how we can do that. To be clearer, let's create. Now, for this, do we create it as a state, or do we create it as not a state? Because this is something that will be checked here inside use effect and change a lot, but we don't want to like rerun this effect each time it's being this state changes. So we create it as a user ref. So let's call it metadata fetched. It will be a use ref. Great. It will be a record of string. The key will be the public key. The value will be boolean, which is true if we are already fetching this event. So here, first we map on all the events, then we can, before that, we can do filter event. We only want the event dot public key. We only want metadata fetch dot current that doesn't have this public key. And we don't forget to update this object. So now after we like this line, it will remove all the public keys that have already been set in this object. So let's also set this object actually for each pub key. We want to this one. We want to make metadata.fetch equal true. And yes, that should be it. Let's see if things improved here. There are still a lot of subscriptions being made. But like, I think you didn't notice it, but there is because we are fetching too many events, but now there is no duplicate subscriptions. The subscriptions being made here are only for new events. But the cause for this huge number of events is, as I said before, because we are creating the subscription each time the event's state is changed, and this is changing a lot. So to solve that, we can This is similar to the problem where you are building a autocomplete search component, and like each time you are sending requests to an API, but when the user type very fast, so there will be like 5 or 10 events per second, and you don't want to make 10 requests. You want to wait for the user to finish typing, then you send a single API request with the latest result. So we will do something very similar to that here. Now, the thing that we can debonus is the events. We don't want to fetch the metadata immediately when any new event is added to the list. We want to wait a little bit so that like more events are added to the list, and then we can try to fetch the metadata for a batch of events together. To use that, it's simple. We can use a library called, I think, use the bonds. Maybe I use the bonds. So here, let's call this state, instead of events, let's call it events immediate. And here we can create a new state called events and use this use debounce after we import it. Use debounce. So here we pass it the events that we wanted to be debounced and how much time we wanted to wait. And events immediate, set events. Yes, that should be it. Let's refresh and see. Okay, as you can see now, the number of created subscription is so much lower. As you can see, this is the subscription event that's happening now. Look, it contains all the public keys that we want in one single subscription. Instead of creating like a subscription each time a new public key is created, right now we are creating only a single subscription, and that's much faster and much more optimized. Okay, that's cool. What else? Yes. Okay, so now we have it a little bit optimized. The feed is looking good. The metadata of the authors is being displayed. We can, by the way, as you can see, this is like let's see if there is a user who hasn't set a username. Okay, seems all the users here have a username. Yeah, for example, this one. So this is a little bit ugly, the hex key, to show it like this. There is a little bit nicer format to display public keys, which is to use nib19, which decodes the hex keys to like a little bit nicer and more human readable string. So let's see how to do that. Here, username, not here, from here. So here we are sending the username if it exists in the public, in the metadata object. If it does not, we are sending the public key. But instead of sending the public key as a fallback, let's use nib19, which is exported from nostr-tools. This is a function that we can specify what we want to encode. So in our case, we want to encode an mbub, and we pass it the public key we want to encode. And let's see. Okay, as you can see, it's now displaying the embub. Uh, you might argue that it's still like look ugly, but I think it's better than the hex format. And to make it like a little bit cleaner, you can slice it. Nip. Yes, like this. So only display the first 12 characters of the embub and trim the rest. And I have an extra bracket. Okay, I think it looks like much cleaner now. Okay, so I think we are almost done with the feed itself. Let's look into publishing an event to the feed. Right now we are reading from it, but how can we write a note to the field? To do that, let's go back here. I have created a simple component. It's like a simple text area. I'll just display it. It doesn't have any logic yet. We'll write that now. Create node. Yes. By the way, let's just remove or call it feed like this. So this is the writing component. Currently it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't have any logic. It's just like a text area inside a form with a button and a submit handler. So to publish an event on Noster, we need to do several things. Let's write them here as a comments. So the first thing we need to do is to construct the event object. Like for at the moment, we will have only the text, which is like a string. But to publish something on Noster, we need to have an event object with its different fields. So we need to construct the event object and set the variable values. And then we need to sign this event or allow the user to sign it with their private key. After that, we need to publish the event to relays. And yes, that's basically it. Now, this step, signing the event, it's like not very straightforward because we need to do several things for that. The first thing to be able to allow the user to sign the key, we will need to for now we will go with the approach where the user uses his browser extension to sign the key, to sign an event, an extension like Albi or nos2x or something like that. So to use this method, we will need to do multiple things. First thing, check if the user has a Noster extension, basically. Then we will need to get the user public key. And then we'll need to show a prompt to the user, prompt the user to sign the event. Because the event will be sent to the user extension, and the user extension will be the one signing it. We don't have like direct access to the private key here, and we shouldn't. We have access to the Albi wallet or Nos2x or whatever extension, and that extension is the one storing the key and is the one which can use it to sign events or something like that. So yes, I think that's the steps. Let's start implementing them. Okay, so first we need to construct the event. Let's create an object, call it base event, because at the moment it will not have all the fields of a normal event. As event, we can use a type which is exported from nostr-tools, which is event template. It's very similar to event, but only has kind, tags, content, and created that. Why we are not using event? Because we still don't have neither the signature nor the public key. We only have the content, which will be the input state, basically. Created at will be it will be date.now, but we need to divide it by 10,000 because date.now returns the date in milliseconds, Unix timestamp, but Noster created at field stores the created at value in seconds unit, not milliseconds. So that's why we are dividing by 1000, and that's why where is it? And that's why here we are multiplying by 1000. Okay, created at kind. It will be a kind one event. Tags. We can specify tags. For now, do we want to specify that? For now, let's not have any tags. Let it be empty tag. Okay, so we constructed the event object. Next, we want to sign it. Can we, by the way, assign the public key? No, not here. Now we also want to have the user public key so that we set it because he is the author. So let's go to this the next step. We need to check to see if the user has Noster installed, has a Noster enabled extension in his browser. So to do that, we can check if window.noster exists. If it doesn't, we can actually, if the user doesn't have, let's put this event right away and return here, return, and we can show an alert telling the user that no, if window.noster does not exist, we can show the user that Noster extension not found. Please install it not from Noster Guru, but from Albi or Nostr, whatever. Yes, and that's it. Now there is a red line here because like TypeScript is screaming that the window object does not have a Noster field on it. So to fix this issue, we can go like add this type. We can do that here, for example, type not global yes. The type we need is let me copy it like this. So we are just accessing the global namespace and adding we don't need to add double n. We are adding a Noster key to it, and we are saying this Noster key has the type of either get public key, not either, if we have a Noster extension installed, it will have access to two functions: get public key, which returns a promise that returns the key, and sign an event, which takes an event object and return a promise of the signed event. And we are setting this type to be on the Noster field on the window object. Now, if you go back here, you will see that yes, the error is gone. And now, like, even if you say window.noster dot, you will see that now it autocomplete with get public key and sign event. Cool. So let's get the public key. Const pub key equals yes, but not get pub key. It's get public key, and by the way, the user, like when we call this method, the extension will show a pop-up asking the user to confirm whether he wants to share his public key with the website, and he might reject. So let's do all of this in a try catch. So in case the user rejects, we can show some error message. Let's say alert rejected, or user rejected operation. So after we get the public key, we want to sign the event. Let's say signed event equal await Noster yes, but not with public key because we don't have public key. Yes, okay, so now we have the Noster signed event, and after that, yeah, we need to add the ID too, so that here we only add the content, like created add, the kind, the tags, but there are still, like if you check on the, let's create the event to publish. It will be of type event. Let's say it has the all the field of base event, and signed event we need the signature actually, so let's just take the signature from here. Sorry, yeah, let's now here we need to also, aside from the base event, we will need to yeah, it's putting the, haven't imported the event type. Yes, okay, so we need the signature. What else? We need the ID and the public key. The rest of the fields are included in the base event. So how do we get the ID of the field? The ID is basically the hash of the different fields of the event and the public key. So, and there is a function exported by nostr-tool, which is get event hash. Yes, get event hash. It takes well, it will take all the fields in the base event, and it will take the pub key of the user. Yes, and it will return the hash. It doesn't need to take the signature, and we need to put the pub key here, by the way. And okay, base event, signature, public key, ID, and that's all the fields we need. Let's see if this is working before going into publishing this event. Actually, let's log the event and see if it's being constructed correctly. Go back to here, open the console. Here, let's write something. Hello from Noster workshop. Publish. Okay, so first I'll be asking me to write a password. Okay, so it's asking me for permission to read my public key. Confirm. Then it's asking me to confirm that I want to sign this message, hello from Noster Shop. You can, of course, check the remember my choice and don't ask again if you wanted to show this dialog each time. Confirm. And here is the event, the final event, content, created ad. Created ad, we need to remove this thing. Created ad. Let's put mask that round. Yep. Okay. So created ad is the number, ID is exists here, and here is the signature for the event. Now this event we can now publish it. So let's see how we can do that. Publishing an event is relatively easy now. We only need access to the pool of relays. Let's quickly check the readme here to see how we can do that. You just, on the pool, we have a method called publish. The first argument will be the list of relays URL we want to publish this event to, and the second argument is the event that we want to publish. And it returns a pops object. We can listen for the OK event on it. And as you can see here, this OK event can be called multiple times for each relay that successfully publishes this event. So yeah, let's do that here. We need access to the pool, as I said. So here we can accept the pool as an argument. Simple pool. It can be null. Like we can check for nullability in the parent and only render the rest of the components when the simple pool is not null. Actually, yes, that's what I'll do. It will be simple pool. Simple pool. And here I take the pools. Let's publish the event. Pool.publish the relays. I need the list of relays, which is here, and I'm exporting it. Good. So relays, and the new event that I want to publish is this event. You know what? Let's just remember that maybe we should add tag of Noster to it. Why? So that when it's published, like we are currently querying the nodes that has a Noster hashtag, right? So when we publish it, we want to see it being here, appear here. So that's why let's add the Noster hashtag, the published event. Okay, publish rule event. We can listen on the OK event, but it's not necessary. Right? After we publish the event, or let's listen to it, const pops, so that we can clear the input text when it's like successfully published. And here we can say pops on OK, and it takes a callback. Here we can here log something like event published successfully or something like that, but let's just clear the input. And yeah, by the way, as I said, this event handler can be called multiple times. Like it might be called each time a relay successfully publishes the event on itself. So we don't want to clear the input multiple times. We only want to clear it once. So let's just create a variable called something like cleared input false. And here, if cleared input already, then I don't want to do anything. Aside from that, we set it to true. This will make sure that this is called only once. I think that should be it, right? Let's test it out and see if it's working. Publish events, yeah, hopefully it's working. Hello from Noster workshop. Publish, confirm, confirm. User rejected operation. Okay, something wrong happened. Let's see. Oh, sorry. The app, we haven't passed the bool object. Yeah. Now it's saying that it can be null. So here, if bool is not set yet, just return loading or return nothing for now. No, nothing. Just return nothing. So let's try that again. Load from Noster workshop. Publish, confirm, confirm. And hooray! Here it is. This is like, as you saw, it's real-time update because like we have the subscriptions, and yes, that's very cool. Okay, I think that should be everything about publishing the event. Now, let's see what do we have left. Now, you might be asking about the case where, what if the user does not have a like Noster extension installed in his browser? Then, like one option could be that you generate a key for him, and you keep it stored in local storage or stored on your server if you have a server, or you can ask the user to import, like write down his private key and you store it later. But like usually these methods are not very safe. Like the local storage can be like, it's not safe at all for storing secrets. It's vulnerable to many types of attacks. One other option that is, maybe it's still not very stable at the moment, but hopefully it's stable soon, is using something like Noster Connect on the mobile, which will be like mobile applications that will act in a similar way to how browser extension handle your keys, where like on your phone you store your keys there and you open a connection each time you want to sign an event on your mobile or laptop. It sends a request to your Noster Connect application, and it will show a pop-up to the user asking him to confirm or not. So that's a much safer option. But yes, as I said, like at the moment, there is not really very stable solutions, but hopefully so. Okay, so that's about that. Okay, so the final thing I think I want to do in this video is to create a hashtag filtering component that will let us change the events we are subscribing to based on the hashtags. Like currently we have hard coded the hashtag Noster, but maybe we want to like allow the users to change what hashtag we are fetching, and it should not be that hard. So I have already created the component, the UI parts of it. This is the component. Let me just collapse this. I'll add it so you can see it here. It's called hashtags filter, and this component, let's just put some values here. let's see this component, how it looks like. So yes, it's a simple component where you write some hashtag and add it, and it will appear in the like it will appear what hashtags you have written. But I haven't created the state for that yet, so let's just create this quickly. Const or state hashtags. It's a string list. Okay. So here we pass hashtag and on chain set hashtags, because why am I having like the state in the parent component, not in the hashtags filter component? Because I'll need to use these hashtags here in the parent component, in the subscription, and like here in these use effects. But first, let's just quickly see how it looks like. So if I write Noster, enter, you'll see that it's added here. Bitcoin, enter, and you can remove it. Okay, but as you can see, it's not doing anything to the feed yet. It's just like a UI component. So let's change that. Let's make the feed we are getting depends on the hashtag that we have specified. And if we haven't specified anything, we don't fetch anything. Or we can fetch from the global feed if you want, but that will, like, if we don't specify any tag, we will, as you saw in the beginning of the video, we will get events constantly, a non-stopping stream of events. So I think if there is no hashtag specified, then we don't fetch any event. Okay, so let's go here where we are creating the subscription. So here, instead of Noster, we simply say hashtags. And of course, you need to include it in the dependency array of use effects. Wait. Hashtag, this is a list of strings. This doesn't follow the format of how hashtag should be. How it should look like is hashtag T, or we are doing it in the subscription, so there is no problem. Sorry. Let's see. Okay, so now there is, refresh the page, there is empty hashtags, so there is nothing. Let's add Noster. Okay, as you can see, it fetched the Noster events. Clear. It hasn't cleared the events because we didn't see that. Maybe if we want to clear the events here, when we create a new subscription and the hashtag that changes, before creating the new subscription, we can just remove the old events, set the events to empty. Yeah. Yes. Let's see now. Okay. So Noster, enter. We get them. Remove it. They are removed. So let's try different hashtag Bitcoin. So as you can see, we get events that have Bitcoin. Let's add another hashtag together, Bitcoin or Noster. If you add multiple hashtags, by the way, they get treated as like in an or basis, not and. So here you see we have a Noster, but there is no Bitcoin. This one has Bitcoin, this one Noster, and like this. So Okay, I think that should be everything for the component. One final thing we might want to add is that the publish event, instead of like publishing it with no hashtags, we also want to use these hashtags on the published event. This should be a very easy change. We just like pass the current hashtags to the component, like this. Here in create note, we tell it that you are to expect a string list of hashtags, and here hashtags, and then we go down here. So here, like we have a list of string of hashtags. We don't put hashtags like this, for example, because this will create a single tag which is a hashtag but a list of string. But the way you should like actually do it is by mapping on the hashtags, and for not mapping here, sorry, like here you say hashtags.map, and what you return is an array where the first element is t, which means a hashtag tag, and the second element will be the hashtag value itself, and ttt. I think that's it. Yeah, let's try that. Actually, before publishing it, like let's just log to make sure that the hashtags are being correct. In the console, let's say Bitcoin Noster hello publish confirm. Yes, this seems correct. Great. So let's just remove this and publish them again, or like enable the publishing. That should be, I think, everything. Let's try it out. Remove this. Let's go to the Noster hack tag. This is the hashtag that is being used for our Bolt Fun Noster hack tournament. So let's say here, hello from Noster workshop. Publish. Confirm. Okay, it appears here. Now let's check if we go to Bolt Fun. I want to show you something. On the Noster hack event itself, we have a feed of the Noster events that have a Noster hack, and as you can see, my event appeared, like I published my event here and it appeared immediately here. Of course, you need to be connected to the same relays, which is the case, but like this is one of the coolest things I like about Noster is how you can like use any client and your like whatever you publish will appear on different clients. So yes. Okay, I think we are almost done. We can talk about yeah, I think that should be it. Oh wow, we have been going for 1 hour and 1.5 hours. That took longer than expected. Yeah, I think that should be everything. I should have made it in less than 1 hour, I think, but this is my first time actually r- creating a video tutorial about something. So yeah, pardon the not so high quality presentation. But yes, I think that's everything. I hope you learned something from this, that it was useful. Um, what else? Yeah, if, as I said, the code for this project will be available on the on GitHub. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them on the Discord server or however you want, and I'll try to answer them. And yeah, good luck with the Noster Hack tournament, and have a nice day. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, guys.